Howdy. So today's video comes a little different. As you can all see, I'm in a hotel room. Currently in Rockford, Illinois. I had I was staying with family. I was staying with my brother yesterday, or last week, up until yesterday. And I had to leave. I had I just got like really bad anxiety being there. Really bad excuse me. Got like a cold again or something. But what am I trying to say? Oh, I kind of got over it by now. Like, I feel better now that I'm like alone. But like in the moment, it was tough because I was like, I don't know. I'm not used to like, well, a few things. Like, first and foremost, it's always like the same thing, like being someone's punching bag when like, but then when you like push back or whatever, then they get all fucking up in arms and shit. And it's like, because they feel like they have like this power dynamic over me. And I'm just not cool with that. Like, that shit just bothers me. Like, I just, And then, what do I mean by that? I guess like all these jabs were taken at me. Like, for instance, like, I don't know if you can see it right there, right? What that is? That's a bra that was gifted to me on Christmas. And ha ha ha, very funny, right? Like, but then when I turn around and I start flipping shit back, all of a sudden all these emotions start getting riled up, and I'm like, what the fuck? And like, it sucks because it's like they knew that I wasn't in a position to like defend myself. I wasn't in a position to where like I could stand up and like walk away. And or like leave the or leave the home or whatever, like where I was staying. It's like, dude, I'm not putting up with that fucking shit. Like, I just don't fucking. And then next, like, they were trying to tell me like what to wear. Like, I was going out and she's like, oh, you don't need a jacket, you can take that off. And I'm like, how fucking weird is that? Like, I think for a lot of people it's normal, because I think a lot of people like are so used to like everyone impeding and imposing on like what you're doing, and I think everyone's just fucking used to it. But me, like, that's, I hold that sacred. Like, it's like, when does it fuck? Because in my mind, it's like, when does it stop? It's like, first it starts with like, oh yeah, tell me like to wear a jacket or not wear a jacket, whatever. And some people might be like, well, that's insignificant. Like, why are you why are you making noise about that? But it's like, you give an inch and they take a mile. Like, I've seen it time after time after time again. And like, so I stand up for myself. I'm like, nah, it's all right. I'm wearing my jacket, and which I did. And then all of a sudden they start getting nervous. They start getting weird and like twiddling their thumbs and whatever, and like biting their nails and shit. Like, and their being nervous was making me nervous and fucking giving me anxiety and shit. My heart started fucking pounding out of my chest. And I was like, I just need to get the fuck out of here. Like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I'm not used to like right now, I'm pretty peaceful. Everything's real chill. But there, it was like this constant. I'm like, what the fuck? And I think they're just used to swimming in that headspace. So when I explain it to them, they don't even understand. They don't even know how to like wrap their head around it, because they've never experienced like being by yourself and just peace. So So when it came to like, when I left and I asked for the ride here, it was hard to explain it and to be heard and to be understood. What did anyway? Like I was like, I really don't give a fuck how I'm look. I mean, I do, but like I have to do what's right for me first. Like I have to prioritize like what's needed instead of like, oh, they're just gonna talk about me and all that shit. I was like, fuck it. Like I have to do what feels right in the moment. Like I can't not act on it, you know, and do what it takes to be corrected. And so that's what I did. And so I'm stuck here. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. My brother keeps texting me, like he's calling me yesterday and shit. Oh, and that brings me to another point. I don't know if it's the third or whatever, but like, you know, you ever, because you're like gauging someone, because like we had like a pretty bumpy and rough like understanding of each other and all this shit, and like, and he made me believe like the whole reason I fucking came out here was made me believe that like, hey, water under the bridge, like I understand you're a man now, like things are done. And when I got here, that's what I found out. It wasn't like that. They're still treating me like, or I wouldn't say that, like I was still being treated like a child, and like that I couldn't be trusted and all this shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's true. I'm a convicted felon, yes, but I never stole anyone from that couldn't afford it. Okay, I stole from a pharmacy and I fucking ripped off major corporations. Okay, yes. And it's also been about a decade since I've done fucking anything. But to some, none of that matters. And that's fine, you know what I mean? Because if that was the case, then I just would have kept my distance and fucking stayed home. You know what I mean? I would have been gone on with my merry life. But the fact that this fucking dude tells me this shit, right? He's like, hey, it's one of the bridge, I understand. Like, we had all these conversations, speaking for the last 2 years. And then when I finally show up on her doorstep, like, all that is gone. And I'm like, oh, it gave me fucking anxiety. Like, I was like, bro, like, I could just stay at home or, like, fucking, I'm actually building a new me and a new life and all this shit. And, and so I tested him, and I was like, is it just in my head? But then, like, for instance, I'm gonna go to a bar. And I was like, hey, because, well, they wanted to take me to, like, another Christmas party. It's like a third one in 3 days. And on the third one, like, which foremost we didn't really talk about, but I was just fucking emotionally exhausted at that point. I was like, no, I just need to be left alone. So I asked him, I was like, can you just, like, drop me off at a bar? You know what I mean? And then, like, afterwards, you just pick me up. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, we don't really have any bars around here. I was like, yeah, well, what about the hideout? He's like, how do you know about the hideout? I was like, you don't know Google Maps is a thing? Like, what the fuck? And why would you lie about that? Why would you lie about, like, you know what I mean? Like, trying to fucking dissuade me from going to a bar. And then when I finally did go to the bar, or try to go to the bar, then he's like, well, I have to go with you. And then his wife kept making these offhand comments, like, oh, well, don't get any fights, don't this, don't that. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, why are you putting that into it? You know what I mean? Like, you'd be like, oh, I was just joking. Let's, at best, assume that's what it is. Okay, fine. But I'm just like, but how often does that happen? I don't, whatever. So let me go out. Well, no bars open. It's December 26th. There's no fucking places open. All right, fine, whatever. So be it. So I was like, we'll just go tomorrow. So then we go tomorrow, or the next day, I should say. And, and then so he's like, hey, geared up to go. I was like, yeah. Well, then all of a sudden now the whole family's going. I was like, that totally defeats the fucking purpose. That totally defeats, like, why I wanted to go. Like, I just wanted Nick time. I just wanted hey, decompress, like I'm around fucking y'all all the time. The only time I'm by my fucking self is when I'm in the bathroom. And even then I'm getting a fucking text, hey, are you okay? I'm like, dog, give a man a room to breathe, man. Fuck. I don't know. I'm just not used to it. They just made me feel so claustrophobic. So, let's assume, best case scenario, all this shit, right? Maybe it's not because of my history, and maybe it's not because of whatever. But then, like, why would you lie about that shit? Why would you, lie and be like, oh, there are no bars around here? It's like, well, that's a lie. And for a man that fucking, or even for some people that really pride themselves on being so virtuous and so, just like Robert Greene said in Before You Lost the Power, you know what I mean? Like, it's those that fucking call everyone out for being so manipulative, all this shit. They're the worst ones of them all. And it's fucking true. So this dude, since last time I met him, like, I guess I kind of fell for his shit and kind of fell for his facade. But now that I've read these books and I have a like deeper understanding of human nature and psychology and all that shit, and fucking body language instead of the words that people use is a much more fucking telling of like what people are trying to fucking say and like the truth and all that shit. I'm like, nah, I don't believe you, dude. I really see him for what he is. So like, I knew that in the moment. Like I said, I was sitting at that kitchen counter or kitchen table and my heart was just pounding. And I was like, I'm getting so much more anxiety sitting here at this fucking table than I am like wondering how I'm gonna get through the next 4 days before I can catch my flight home. I gotta leave. Fuck it. I'll figure it out. Like I gotta. It was fucking terrible. Terrible. So. Okay. So then he gives me a ride here. He drops me off. And like, I was all over the board. I was like, because I was trying to like figure out what it was. I was sitting there spinning in my head. I was like, I don't know if it's because you think I'm like this or it's because of that or whatever. I was like, let it be known, like, I don't know what's causing this anxiety because it's true. I didn't know what it was at the time. And just like most people, when I bring up some examples of what it possibly could be, he's like, no, it's not that. And then like I was also bringing up how one other person and him were saying, all these awkward moments. And I was like, yeah, see, like I just feed off the energy and I'm just like, what's going on here? And he's like, no, we weren't talking about you. And I'm like, bro, I know you're not talking about me because you guys said you did it before I even showed up, which I get it. Like you could just tell, like it just happens all the time. Like the entire family is awkward. That's what I was trying to illustrate. I'm trying to illustrate that like they are just constantly fucking awkward and uncomfortable and uneasy people, uptight, fucking whatever the fuck you want to call it, sticking their ass. I don't know. But like, it's not just, we're just chilling. You know what I mean? Just watching TV. Like they're sitting there just like constantly. Like I don't know how else to put it. And I'm just like, damn, y'all fucking, the energy is just off. The energy is off. So I got here, and as soon as he dropped me off, because he dropped me at the bus station, which is like next door. As soon as he dropped me off, I walked in there, put my bags on, went, this huge wave of relief washed over me. I only got a couple beers, but I didn't even fucking need them. Excuse me. Because I already felt so fucking good. I already felt fucking... It was wild. Wild. So then... What, about an hour or two passes, and he texts me, you at the airport? Like I said, I eased off a little bit. Like, I'm not... Again, to reiterate, I'm not like beefing at them or anything, but I just think the energy's off. I think it's